Politics is a very interesting game. And politics is a dirty game. Yesterday, the Building Bridges Initiative report was officially launched at the Bomas of Kenya by President Uhuru Kenyatta, his deputy William Ruto, and the ODM party leader Raila Odinga. President Uhuru Kenyatta used the occasion to explain why he disagreed with his deputy for the first time. And Dr. Ruto also used the same occasion to poke holes into the report in a speech which carried the day. And Raila Odinga also gave a statement. And Raila Odinga also delivered a statement speech. But I made certain observations during yesterday's event. And I would do a lot of disservice to the subscribers of this channel without pointing out those behind the scene observations which I made. So I want to look at some of the 5 things which I observed during that launch. But before we do that, if you're watching this video for the first time, please take a second or two and click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Now let me just go straight to the points. The first thing I observed is that probably the report which was presented yesterday is not the actual Building Bridges Initiative report. We've had the BBI one, which was also launched at the Bomas of Kenya. Yesterday, another report was launched. And deep inside, I am now convinced that what was launched at the Bomas of Kenya yesterday is not the actual Building Bridges Initiative report. And I want to agree with my senior, Herman Manyora, who made these observations last week before the launch.
First, is the BBI report a good document? There are mixed reactions. What do I think myself? I've always stated that the BBI is a good idea. I've always stated the handshake was a good thing for this country. But I've also always stated that looking from the first BBI report, I didn't see much into it. But I told Kenyans immediately that first report came last year in November, that there will be another report coming, that was not even the report. Someone said, in some studio I was. What do you mean? Yes, it has come to pass. We have another BBI report. This morning I report there will be yet another report. But after the 2022 elections, the next question we ask ourselves, is this report good for William Ruto?
So what was launched at the Bomas of Kenya yesterday is just a decoy. We had the Building Bridges Initiative Report 1, which was launched at the Bomas last year. Then again, this was launched at the same place. And I expect a third BBI report to be launched at Bomas. And probably a fourth report will also be launched. But I want to disagree with my senior Manyora, because Manyora believes that the final report will be launched next year. I think it will be launched before the bills are published. Because what these guys are trying to do, they want Kenyans. There are certain things they want, but they fear coming out. So they want the people themselves to demand for those things. One of them is the executive prime minister. BBI is a product of President Uhuru Kenyatta and his brother Raila Odinga. Uhuru Kenyatta has announced that he will be going home. But that's a decoy. The truth of the matter is that Uhuru Kenyatta is likely to remain as the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. So they're now putting an executive Prime Minister so that Kenyans can say, what we want is not a Prime Minister which is not powerful. We want a Prime Minister who is appointed after the elections based on the numbers based on their numbers in Parliament. And that this Prime Minister cannot be fired easily by the President and Parliament. So in the final report, that's what's going to come out very clearly. So Kenyans shall have played into the hands of these schemers. And that's what politics is all about. So the Building Bridges Initiative report, which we saw yesterday, is not the final report. I am convinced that the deputy president played into the hands of these guys. Whatever he proposed are going to be considered in the final report. And this will play two roles. Number one, it will corner the deputy president to support the report. And number two, it will serve the interest of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. Uhuru Kenyatta would want a prime minister who is powerful. Kenyans are now demanding that the prime minister, which you are witnessing, is weak. And the mere fact that the president is the one who is going to appoint him makes the presidency imperial. And that's what most Kenyans don't want. So in the final report, all those are going to be fixed. And we shall have played into the hands of those guys. That's the first observation I made. The second observation which I made is that William Ruto is likely to oppose the Building Bridges Initiative report. Let me tell you a bit of politics. President Uhuru Kenyatta launched this report in Kisii. And then the president went to Kisumu. And from Kisumu, there was a euphoria about the handshake. The president and Raila Odinga were received. And that euphoria ought to have been continued. The president made a mistake. He went to Nyeri. And after going to Nyeri, the president did not really receive the kind of reception most Kenyans had expected. So it was a counterproductive, the event. And when the president was in Nyeri, his deputy was in Mumias. And while at Mumias, the crowd which the deputy president attracted were more than the crowd which the president attracted. So that became the topic on that particular day. So the euphoria which was created in Kisumu actually was killed. And yesterday, we were at Bomas. And at Bomas, the president spoke. But the man who carried the day were two people, Alex Matere and the deputy president. So the deputy president again used the occasion to stamp his authority. So the euphoria which was created in Kisumu has died. So the deputy president is likely to sustain the euphoria which he created yesterday, moving forward. And because the deputy president is a shrewd politician, he's likely to sustain that euphoria. And that euphoria will only work for him if he will continue poking holes into that document and opposing the document. Most of the proposals he was making are actually aligned to the thoughts of most Kenyans, but some of them are impractical. For example, the IEBC. The IEBC will have to be restructured, and political parties will have to appoint some commissioners, because the independent commissioners of Isa Kasam and of Fula Chebukati failed the country. And the ones Kenyans are appreciating is the one for IPPG, where political parties appointed commissioners, so that if you are a commissioner, then you represent the interest of your political party. Then at the end of the day, there are certain things you can't allow to happen. But the fact of the matter is that the deputy president is likely to sustain this campaign, and moving forward, he's going to oppose that particular report. The third thing I observed is that if you listened to the president's speech and Raila Odinga's speech, these guys were up to something. They wanted to tie William Ruto to Jubilee Party. William Ruto has been trying so hard to dissociate from Jubilee government, the failures and the success. In fact, whenever the deputy president is outside there, his allies would always hit at Jubilee Party, their performance. And the deputy president would strategically point out some of the projects. Like, let me use his last trip in Kakamega. He was pointing out the roads they are building, whatever they've been planning for that region. His allies hit at the government. So Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta were very keen on trying to link the deputy president, or to ensure that the deputy president is associated with the government. That's why Raila Odinga was very clear that BBI has nothing to do with 2022. Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy are in government. Listening to Raila Odinga briefly.
What is done, Kenyans will decide who is going to be a leader in 2022. We don't want to talk about 2022 now. We are talking about Kenya of today. The Jubilee government, and the leaders are here, have therefore 4-point agenda. Wamalize hiyo kwanza. Hapana ambia sisi vile mtafanya 2022. Sasa hivi fanyeni hiyo sasa, mnulize kwanza. Sisi wako pamoja, wako pair. Wako pair. Wewe umekuwa na bibi, umezaa mtoto, unaona mtoto amekuwa ni kichaa. Sasa wewe unasema hiyo si mtoto yangu. BBI, sema kwa Kenya moja, BBI.
And the president also was very clear that Raila Odinga is not part of government. Why is that happening? The allies of the deputy president have been trying to link Raila Odinga to Jubilee failures. So that if there is a failure in Jubilee government, then those failures are going to be tied to both Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, and not the deputy president. And that's why the president was also very clear that Raila Odinga is not part of government. Listen in.
But when we sat down to speak, something that was very difficult for him, but also for me and my team, very difficult. But when we got through to it, and we spoke again, and we spoke again, we agreed that we're not here to share positions, and we should put our various positions aside. And we agreed that we were coming together with one common agenda, the agenda of ensuring that what the people of Kenya have witnessed in 1992, in 1997, in 2005, in 2007, in 2017, Kenyans shall never, ever witness again. We did not talk about sharing government, and as we stand today, he is not in government. He is not in government. He never made any demands for government. He never made any demand for a share of government. He said that let us get together and let us fix that which ails us, that will allow us in future to be able to compete without the need for innocent Kenyan blood to be shed. I want to thank you for that, Raila, from the bottom of my heart, because you didn't have to do it.
The fourth thing which I also observed is the fact that President Uhuru Kenyatta is keen on building a consensus around the Building Bridges Initiative process. The president has figured out that there is no money in government. So he will not want a situation where the campaigns become expensive. Probably the president is looking at the possibility of passing this Building Bridges Initiative report through parliament. And that's why you observed closely, Musalia Mudavadi spoke, Kalonzo Musyoka spoke, Moses Wetangula spoke, Wafula Wamunyinyi spoke. Wafula Wamunyinyi spoke on behalf of Fort Kenya. Wetangula spoke as the senator for Bungoma. And remember, there was a coup. So it means the president is keen on bringing on board everybody. Gideon Moi was represented. He was absent. Chama cha Mashinani was there. Charity Ngilu was there. Alfred Mutua was there. So basically, the president is trying to bring everybody on board. And that's why the deputy president was also there. So if the president will succeed in bringing on the deputy president, it's going to mean that the president shall have succeeded in building a consensus around this particular BBI campaigns. So the president is keen on developing a consensus. And the last thing I observed, which is number 5, is that in 2022, we are likely to have a vibrant opposition in this country. Whether that opposition is going to be led by William Ruto, it's going to be a very vibrant opposition. Kipchumba Murkomen proved his worth in Bomas 1. William Ruto proved his worth in Bomas 2. Who is going to prove his worth in Bomas 3? Because Bomas 3 is also going to give birth to another report before the final report. Raila Odinga has been known to be the leader of opposition in this country. So of course you can't doubt his ability. If we didn't have this handshake, the government would be today on toes. So in 2022, whichever way the vote will go, we are going to have a vibrant opposition in this country. Those are the 5 things I observed from the background. But there's something which someone also observed and shared with me. He told me that those who are keen realized that when people woke up at the Bomas of Kenya, the Standard newspaper, all of them were placed on seats there. And when Raila Odinga stood up to speak, he dismissed Standard and that narrative. And the guy was telling me that if you follow Raila Odinga, he's been very keen on his bid for the presidency. He has not declared it publicly. The Standard quoted him speaking in some Luo somewhere, which could not be verified. So the guy was telling me that what was happening is that there's a war, Cold War, between Raila Odinga and Gideon Moi. Gideon Moi want to force Raila Odinga to declare his bid. And probably the other thing he told me is that Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga even probably agreed not to talk about 2022. So talking about 2022 is premature on the side of Raila Odinga, because they agreed not to talk about it. And that's why Gideon Moi, through Standard, according to the guy, was pushing for that narrative. I don't know much about it, but I'll get more details about that. Because other thing is, in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. The placement of those newspapers on those tables were designed to achieve certain political objectives. Whether they were to the advantage of Raila Odinga or to the disadvantage of Raila Odinga is something which we will gather more details about. But for now, those are the 5 observations I made during the Bomas event. If there's any observation you made, I want to read them in the comment section. At least today I have time. I'm going to respond to each and every comment in the next 1 hour or 2 hours. Tukorane kwa comments. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.